It was about 18 months ago. I got a phone call that nobody ever wants to get, and it was my dermatologist, and she had explained that I have a very rare and aggressive cancer called angiosarcoma.
Hi, I'm Bret and this is my wife, Brandie, and this is our story of how the grit meets the blessing and showed us amazing things in the past couple years.
Early March, we get that phone call. It was devastating.
Yeah.
It's right here on my face, and that kind of started the ball rolling of all kinds of appointments and doctors, and honestly, we just kind of shook our head in disbelief. We had just adopted our daughter, so in February, and we thought, man, we really got through a season of some difficulty. My mom had passed, and adjusting to adopting the children and the process of adoption and COVID and such. And prognosis for angiosarcoma is pretty gloomy. And so I just felt like if this is true, and this is the way this is going to go down, if I really only have like a year and a half, I do not want to spend that year and a half in and out of surgery. So we looked at these tools that were in the tool belt of like traditional medicine, and we're not against that on any level. I mean, I think if the tumor were on my leg, sure, let's do those things. But I think just given the sensitivity of where it is on my face, we chose to choose more of an integrative approach.
So we've been learning to walk through this, relying on God every step of the way, even though there's anything but certainty. Decided to go for a walk out at Calvary Harvest Fields, and I'm walking around the property and praying, although I wouldn't really call it praying. It was more like sniveling, and honestly,
Groan's too deep for words. How about that?
Yeah, that is
generous.
But I just remember I'm walking across the front of the property, and I just hear that still small voice, the one that comes and just interrupts your thoughts, and it said, "Look at the birds." And when the voice of the Spirit spoke that, I was in these tall grasses. It was late winter, and these, still don't know what kind of birds they were, but like a flock of maybe 20 burst up from the tall grasses around me, and all of a sudden I was in a flock of birds. And just began this reality that I realized that like just going through something hard isn't the same thing as being poor in spirit. Just being afraid.
That's true.
And being crushed by the reality of like a knownness is not being poor in spirit.
They're invitations.
Yeah.
They're invitations for sure.
And choosing instead of clamping down in fear or even control, to maintain an open posture of radical dependence and belief in abundance rather than like faith in some imaginary scarcity. It's God's world. He's got us.
Yeah, that's really true. So I feel like I'm constantly seeing ways that the goodness of God is just overshadowing us and meeting us. On my hardest days, I've had moments where, the person texts you at just the right time. I've heard, like in my little heart and ears, my name being whispered. And the one day I was like, Lord, what is that? And he's like, it's the saints. It's the ones that are bringing you before my throne. And I would have to say that literally there's not a moment I felt alone, not one. I mean, I think the partnership that we have and the faith that the Lord has like teaching us and building here, and but honestly, it's even bigger than that. It's the body. I think this is the first time in my life that I've actually opened myself to the body of Christ. The invitation to receive His truth and His love from the body in this season has been so beautiful. Like, instead of being totally dependent, being in a space where I can literally lean into women around me and families around me, and I've just been really blown away by that. And like the specific specialist or the specific book or the specific door that needs to be opened or the specific, it's just been an incredible path. It's been like little breadcrumbs that He's like literally led us on every way. And I just love the way the Lord has led us. He really has led us. There's not been one moment that He has not opened a very clear door, and I'm really grateful for that. The Lord is just kind of full circle reminding me that like, He's got me. This grit is going to produce a blessing.
Yeah, definitely.